Hello everyone, my name is Alix Sortino, and today you will learn about someone who you've most likely never heard about before, but after today you will never forget. Bert Williams was a force of nature in the life of performance. With his raw talent, he not only changed the world of performance for other African Americans, but for every single person to come after him. He was a comedic icon in the early 1900s, and his story deserves to be shared with everyone. Now without further ado, Bert Williams. Egbert Austin Williams, known by most as Bert, was an extraordinary individual. Bert Williams was born in New Providence, Nassau, Bahamas, in the British West Indies on November 12, 1874. In 1885, the Williams family moved to the United States permanently, where they eventually settled down in Riverside, California. William attended Riverside Boys High School. He didn't pay much effort to class or care about his studies, but he had an immense passion for his choir that he sang in. He was always a natural performer. When Williams was old enough to start thinking about college, he wanted to go to Stanford University, but the tuition was too expensive for him to afford. Instead of giving up or asking for help, he joined a minstrel show where he traveled throughout Northern California to different lumber camps. The minstrel show that he was in struggled profoundly. In 1893, he signed up with Martin and Silga's minstrel at the ripe age of 19 years old. In this show, Williams met George Walker, who would soon become a huge part of his career and ultimately his life. Walker played the role of a sharp-dressed straight man, and Williams as his down-at-the-heels counterpart, bumbling but quick-witted. The pair traveled together, performing around the country, and called themselves the Two Real Coons. Many African Americans participated in minstrel shows because, for decades, they were the only performing opportunities open to blacks of any kind. Williams and Walker lessened the racist aspect of the minstrel shows and turned the humor into their own. Williams would spit out humorous remarks that were universally funny, and that any general audience would find it funny instead of making jokes about other African Americans or black culture, which is what many other black performers did during this time. Williams used oily black burnt cork to put over his entire face, which was the show's strongest visual symbol, and he performed his own song called, "Oh, I Don't Know You, You're Not So Warm." Blackface, as it was called, was traditionally used by white performers to imitate poor, ignorant African Americans. The crowd went ballistic over Williams' song, "Oh, I Don't Know You, You're Not So Warm." No one was more shocked at the success of the song than Williams himself. Numerous white performers would refuse to appear on the same bill that Williams appeared on and would protest that his songs were better than theirs. Many hotels and restaurants that Williams performed at would discriminate against him, as they did with most black performers. Despite the clear racism that still prevailed at this time, Williams and Walker persisted, and even though their show was financially insecure when they arrived in New York in 1896 on their tour, they were able to land roles in the Victor Herbert operetta, The Goldbug. The duo was very much known for their ragtime rhythms and songs, and would incorporate them into the songs of the vaudeville program. Ragtime was very much on the rise in the late 1890s, and they just so happened to be in the right place at the right time. Within no time, they landed themselves an arrangement with Coaster and Bilas, which was one of the city's top halls, and the dance, the cakewalk, became very popular among white audiences. The cakewalk was a comic black imitation of white society dances, which fit their comedic performance style perfectly. Williams and Walker were gaining some real momentum, and in 1901, Williams became the first African American to become a best-selling record artist. He was one of, if not the most, popular African American performer at this time. In 1902, Williams and Walker performed in a musical by composer Will Marion Cook, where they performed texts by poet Paul Laurence Dunbar. The show had an African theme called In Dahomey, and due to his exquisite raw talent, Williams became an international star with his performance in this piece. This show was the first black musical to be performed on Broadway. Williams and Walker toured extensively with this show, going to places like England in 1903, showcasing a private performance to the chambers of King Edward VII. The show In Dahomey generated other all-black musical successes, including Abyssinia in 1906, and Bandana Land in 1908. Williams was a star and a legend, and even still, some white actors would continuously treat him with racial restrictions to humiliate him. Although he does say that some of his white actors would treat him as an equal counterpart, not everyone could look past his skin color to see his utter talentedness and his deserve for respect. In 1911, George Walker passed away due to ill health, which put an end to his long-lasting, triumphant partnership with Williams. Even so, Williams continued to perform and furthermore transcend minstrel comedy as well as produce several new original songs.
Nobody, sung by Egbert Williams.
His most famous song of all time, Nobody, which was written by Roger and music by Williams himself. For years to come, Williams would be asked to sing Nobody during his performances, even when attempting to introduce different pieces. The songs he premiered coined him as a hard-luck individual who was funny, but still very much possessed obvious undertones of sadness.
When winter comes with snow and sleet, and me with hunger and cold feet, who says here, 25 cents, go ahead and get yourself something to eat. Go on. Nobody.
Williams' song, Nobody, became the most iconic point of his image. In 1910, Williams was hired by Florence Ziegfeld to be one of the stars of the Ziegfeld Follies, which appointed him as the first black actor to be regularly featured in a Broadway revenue. And he was the first to work openly with white performers in a major Broadway revenue. He joined the cast of the show despite receiving resistance from some of the white performers who were also in the act, and also despite him knowing that it was indeed a controversial move on his end. Williams recorded many records for the Columbian label in the 1910s. They produced his songs and comedic routines, one of the most popular routines being Darktown Poker Club. In 1918, Williams topped the bill at New York City's Palace, breaking yet another color line. This skit of his stirred much attention. In this performance, a single spotlight illuminated Williams' head and shoulders as he mimicked all the gestures of the players, from drawing cards to losing the game. At this point, Williams was a naturalized American citizen, and in 1920, he appeared with Canson in the show Broadway Brevities. Williams did so much with his career and was even able to see his success and hard work pay off for other young black performers who benefit from the opportunities he was able to create for them. Upon working on his new production called Under the Bamboo Tree, however, Williams fell ill in Detroit while the show was touring nationally. He collapsed on stage. Williams had heart problems, and his failing health finally caught up with him, leading him to catch pneumonia. He returned to New York City and unfortunately passed away a month later on March 4th, 1922. Many tributes from both black and white performers flowed in and were collected in Mabel Rowland's biography Bert Williams, Son of Laughter, created in 1923. The Chicago Defender even published a statement insisting that no other performer in the history of American stage enjoyed the popularity and esteem of all races and classes of theatergoers to the remarkable extent gained by Bert Williams. Williams left an incredible legacy behind and achieved so many firsts for African American performers, an obscure but phenomenal individual who shall never be forgotten.